Welcome to Passioneer Magazine The Podcast, where you'll hear inspirational stories, encouraging news, and in-depth interviews with authors, influencers, CEOs, and thought leaders. Passioneer Magazine The Podcast. Bold ideas, brave pursuits, boundless inspiration. Hello. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for joining me here on Passioneer Magazine, the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. I am so excited to share your insights, your wisdom, your journey with not only our listeners, but for our viewers as well. But I realize that there may be some folks out there that are unfamiliar with you, with your work. So first question is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am an emotional intelligence speaker and executive coach. So I help leadership teams to lead engaged teams that deliver remarkable service. And I also help high performing executives who desire more purpose and more joy in their life to create balance and alignment with the impact that they're making.
Now, is this something that you thought you would always do? And what I mean by that is, as a child, did you think that you were perhaps going to be a teacher, that you were going to help people? Is there any correlation, or over the years has this just evolved into this best self?
So I definitely have always loved being on stage and teaching. I was in speech and mock trial in high school and I went to state in those. So it's been a natural gift of mine. And there was always some part of me that felt like I was here for a bigger purpose. And,
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure what that was. I spent many decades trying to find that. And I really stumbled upon it when I hit a rock bottom in my life. I was burnt out in my career. I was stressed out all the time. And I hit that rock bottom in my marriage with my husband. And that forced me to really go inside to do some internal work of emotional intelligence and self mastery
Mhm.
and to shift my life personally and professionally. And because that was such a major transformation, I wanted to be able to share that with others. And it was, a natural progression of, okay, how can I take what I've learned and coach people through it, write a book about it, and even teach it to leaders in a leadership type capacity?
I really like that. And thank you for that insight, because I usually ask, do you have an aha moment? Do you have that nudge or that moment in your life that really propels you? And you kind of touched on that. And I find that especially with women, I think because we are so in tune with who we are, what we need, what we aspire to be, that we have those moments. And if we have that moment again, it's like, okay, this is confirmation for sure. It doesn't take that fifth person to say something, that 12th person to say something. We understand that, yes, it is time. And I'm so glad that you were able to discern that as well. Now, with the all that you have experienced, but all the positive that you've experienced as well, how are you able to keep that spark of innovation with what you do and balance it with who you are, with your core self, with how you want to present yourself to the world? How does that blend together?
I think it's an ongoing journey. And even, being in a purposeful business, living my life with great impact and following those nudges, those intuitions that you mentioned, and not having to hear them multiple times. If I could go back, I would have trusted myself a lot earlier, but I think that's just part of growth and wisdom.
Mhm.
But for me, the journey is ongoing. It's never ending. I love yoga, and for a while I was a yoga teacher, and there's many aspects of that that informs who I am now and how I coach and lead others. But it's a continual process. And so, especially as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, I think innovation is just required. We're always, things are changing, our world is shifting. And so that innovation is necessary. And I am a proponent of I'm a coach, I'm always going to be coached. I'm a teacher, yet I'm also always the student. And so, as long as I'm continuing to keep doing the work on myself, keep going inward, keep checking in, and staying aligned with my core values, even as my business shifts, and especially, to get to where I am today required me to try on a lot of things and see what the market responded to, what I enjoyed, where I could add the best value. But it was, okay, what feels good to me? What am I enjoying? What's aligned with my expertise? And let me just keep going inward so that I am making choices that are in alignment with myself.
Hmm, hmm. And I like how you allowed yourself to branch out and to be several things, right? You didn't try to keep yourself in the box. And even if it wasn't going to be a forever aspect of your life in that particular form or fashion, you didn't stop yourself. I love that you are a yoga teacher. That's, if you don't teach it to others, it's a personal experience. But like you said, you're
Okay.
able to perhaps share that with those in your support group, those on your team. Hey, have you ever tried doing this? But you wouldn't be able to give that piece of advice if you had never done that particular step in your life. So I
Yeah.
love that you have done that. Now, when it comes to your daily habits, many people that I speak with, especially entrepreneurs, boy, are there those top three things, or at least number one, but many times three things that you must do every day that really helps keep yourself motivated, that really keeps you on track. Are you a person like that as well?
Yes, and I've also been more flexible in my morning routine and what those things are. So there are some constants, mindfulness, meditation. I've been meditating for many, many years. I teach that as one small aspect of what I support my clients on. But that is definitely something that's been consistent. And it's not a huge practice for me. It's 10 minutes a day, but it's enough to help me to hear the thoughts that are going on in my head, to remind me to be present, to remind me to be grateful
Mhm.
for what I have. So that is the consistent. And then I'm really just wanting to make sure that I'm doing something in the morning that's filling me up. I'm a mom, I've got this business, I want to live a life of purpose and joy. And so that has looked like different things at different times. Sometimes, some mornings, I want to journal. Some mornings, I might do more of a visualization meditation. And
Mhm.
what I've been doing recently, because I've really been trying to add more joy and more fun to my life, is I've been doing some dancing in the morning and just turning on those beats that I love to move to, just so that I'm adding some excitement into the morning. And so, like I said, I kind of go inward and just say, what do I need today? And I pick and choose from those little pieces, but it's all about let me fill myself up first, because I really
Mhm.
want to be able to give to others. And as long as I'm doing that, then I can give to my clients and to my family and, take care of myself.
Mhm. Oh, I love the dance in the morning if you have to do that. And just
It's
time
been
to
so
be
fun.
silly, right? Just to put on that song, and especially if it's a song that perhaps was from our high school years or our college years when we were still kind of silly, and we didn't have to worry about our professional self yet. We were just ourselves. Some of those songs are just fun, and you
So
just kind of
fun.
want to shake a tail feather. And I love that. I love that. So good for you for not only doing that, but for sharing that with others to let them know we can still be professional and great at what we do, but we also need to give ourselves permission to just be ourselves, even have a little bit of that silly self kind of tap in from time to time to keep us balanced. Now, speaking of creating that balance and deciding who we're going to be for the day, so many of us have to make high pressure decisions. We only have a few moments to decide yes, no, up, or down. How do you help your client base with determining how they make decisions during those high pressure situations?
So the first step really goes into a bit of detective work, because what I find is that a lot of what holds us back, whether that's at work or at home in any of our relationships, are these bogus beliefs that I write about in my book. So it's a limiting belief about ourselves. It's that I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not whatever enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not deserving. And I've coached people from all levels in, Fortune 500 companies to small startups, and I have found that every single human has these bogus beliefs. And even myself, as much work as I've done on them, every time that I've up leveled in my life, I've had to dissect that belief and look at it from this new level of wisdom into this new area that I want to grow into. And so when I'm coaching my clients on making decisions, one of the things that we're first looking at is, are you making a decision from this bogus belief, or are you making it from your empowered self, from the truth about who you are when you are standing in your worthiness, in your greatness, in your enoughness? So we want to make sure that we're in that space in order to make the decision. And then I'm also, I really recommend getting in touch with our gut, our intuition, because that is the culmination of all of our life experiences being filtered through our brain down into our stomach area. And so that can also guide us as long as we're not acting from that limited space. And then I also guide my clients to make decisions through their personal core values, because especially as entrepreneurs, or if they are business leaders, which the clients I work with are, our personal core values impact how we show up at work. And so if we're filtering our decisions through those, it just gives us we start at the top, but then this gives us a little bit more specific framework in order to make decisions.
Oh, I love that. And I find so many times that we get so wrapped up in the career path that we lose pieces of ourselves along the way. And having that coach, having that accountability partner, having someone such as yourself to really help keep you on track is so important. No matter what the program, the individual one-on-one counseling, whatever you call it, it is so important that you do that, not only for your business, but for one's self. So I love that you make this service available. Now, when it comes to your own, you do speaking engagements, you're writing, you're helping clients, you're wearing all of these hats. How do you keep your life harmonious when it comes to all of the things that you are required to do in a day?
It's really interesting because I feel like I'm always trying to figure that one out. But what helps me is to have the bigger term vision. So kind of, what is this year, especially as we're heading into a new year, what is this year going to look like for me? And then on, Sunday nights, I will plan out my week, or Monday morning if I have a busy weekend, and trying to simplify it. What are the three things that are really going to move the needle forward, that are going to make the impact? And I've also been playing with a new methodology called human design. Are you familiar with human design? Okay,
No.
so it's based on your exact birth date and minute, so the exact time that you were born. And it's somewhat astrology, somewhat science-based, but it really has taught me about how to follow my design, which is
Oh, like having your life path number and all of
something
that.
exactly, something
Kind of
like that.
similar? Yes,
Yes. And
yes.
so essentially, my design is meant to follow joy, which makes sense because my business name is Joy Discovered, and I really want to help my clients create that. But it's also aligning with that versus all those others' expectations and just creating this piece of my business because everyone else is doing it. It's more about doing what's in alignment with myself. And
Yeah.
so for me, I'm checking in and saying, will this project get me excited? Because if I don't have that excitement behind it, I feel like I'm pushing the whole time and I'm more likely to lead to burnout. So it's just another tool to understand myself better and make more informed decisions while also working towards a bigger decision at the time.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love that. And I'm not familiar with the term, but I did interview someone who off camera, kind of behind the scenes, she says, Dr. Angela, when's your birthday? And I told her, and she says, oh, no, I'm not going to get this right, so I'm not going to even try to pretend to. But she says, oh, that means you are a number, whatever it was. And that means that you're the type of person who likes to do one, two, three, and four. And she says, well, I've been to your website. It looks like you're doing one and two. And I was like, and I absolutely love three and four. So
Okay.
it's so interesting how when we look at the ways in which we can discover more about ourselves, I think those of us who say, I am going to walk my path, even if no one else believes this is what I'm supposed to do, I am going to do this. I am going to go, left and then right. Everyone else is telling me to go right and then left, but I'm going to stand true. And then there comes someone who says, I knew you were that person. You're perfect for the job, or you're the speaker we've been looking for. Whatever it is, we have these little confirmations along our journey that says that you are, in fact, on the correct path, and this was specifically for you. So I love that you are doing that, and look at that, with choosing the word joy, and then
I
finding out
know.
that coincides. I love that.
My North
For me,
Star.
that's another confirmation, right? That you were definitely on the right path. I love that. I love that, Sarah. Now, you are also an author. You have written the book, The Balanced Life Blueprint. I must admit, if I saw that title, that is something I would stop, pick it up, and kind of thumb through it. We know that the book is available on Amazon and, of course, wherever books are sold. But tell us more about this wonderful book of yours.
Yeah, so thank you for asking. This book was really the thing inside of me that if I would have died without publishing this book, I would have felt like my life was a waste. I just knew that was, you asked me one of the questions earlier, how did you find your path? And this was just something that was inside of me screaming to come out because it was such a big impact. It was based on my journey of that moment of burnout in my career and my marriage and what I went through and how it helps all humans to really move away from other people's shoulds for them, other people's expectations, to tap more into our authenticity and to clean up the emotional drama that we carry with us
Yeah.
and to move away from those bogus beliefs that I talked about before so that we can create success at work, at home, and truly stand in our power, truly shine and give to this world in the unique way that I believe each and every one of us are. And so
Mm.
that book is based on one of my coaching programs, and I literally walk you through step by step, hand by hand, the journey that I went on. And I'm just so grateful because it's, been a labor of love to finally get it out there into the world.
I love that. And if you are a book lover like I am, then it's something that you get to, especially as the weather starts to change, be it that it is a rainy day or a snowy day. What a great time to snuggle up with a book, read a few pages, use that as the inspiration for your day or for your week. So I love that you've also made that available to people. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for spending time with us here on Passioneer Magazine, the podcast. I appreciate your insights and your wisdoms, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers will as well. Now, if someone wants to reach out to you or follow you on social media, what's the best way to do that?
So I'm most active on LinkedIn at Sara Mueller 8 and also Instagram. And then if it's okay with you, I would like to offer your audience access to the audiobook of my book if they would like access to that.
Thank you. That
So
would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
awesome. So they could find that at bookforbalance.com/audio. And so that's the free audio version of the Balanced Life Blueprint. And it's at bookforbalance.com/audio.
I love it. Thank you again, Sarah, for being a guest today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Angela.